Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fortress Comic News, episode 307. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host here, Mike. What's going on today, Mike?
Hey, man. Nothing. Just chilling on a Sunday. Um, Katie had COVID all last week, so took an easy weekend. Lots of comics, lots of movies and TV shows. Didn't really have anything planned for the weekend, so it was nice just to stay inside anyways, because we got a bit of snow.
Did you
Yeah.
get my version of COVID, or did you get the bad one?
She got the bad one.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, she's feeling better now, though, so it's been 6 days. But yeah, it's I never caught it, so I don't know. Take that, science. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike beat science.
Yeah. No, but when I had it, she never got it, so it just doesn't make sense.
That's like when my mom got it. My dad never got it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying I'm an anti-vaxxer or anything like that. I fully believe in vaccines. But I do think when people you definitely mimic symptoms, not like a phobia kind of thing, but I feel like if you're in the mindset that you're going to be sick too, around sick people, then it almost weakens you. If you just are in the mindset that oh shit, I'm definitely going to get sick this week, you start almost wearing yourself down.
I mean, there's something to it, because when I got
Yeah.
it, I was just like, yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the best week off I had in a long time.
Yeah. Well, it sucked for me because I had to go to California for work this week, and as soon as I landed Monday, and we were driving to where the customer was, I immediately got a text that she had tested positive, and I was like, well, shit. I was like, I feel fine, but I'm probably gonna have to test myself if I go to these customers. And then I was like, do I feel fine? I'm like, man, I feel really tired all of a sudden. I'm like, is it tired from COVID or tired from jet lag? It's just jet lag. But then you start thinking these things oh man, then your heart starts racing and you're like, oh God, am I actually sick? What's going on? Why do I feel so weird? All these things start collapsing. And then I got tested at the customer. I was negative. So, it's just fun stuff. But yeah, she was going on 3 years never catching it. So it was her the third anniversary of the great COVID. She finally got it.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
I remember mine. It was just because I was at Turficon. I was like, I have a headache.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went home, or went back to the hotel, I should say.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just kind of chilling here. I ordered some Grubhub. You leaving the next day to go home. I was like, I should probably test, just see, because the headache getting kind of bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but if I was at home,
Mm-hmm.
and it was any other day, I would have been like, oh, it's a headache, I'll just lay down. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
thought twice about it.
Right. For sure.
But
Yeah.
then the next day I felt kind of cruddy, and the rest of the week I was $1,000,000. Didn't feel a thing.
Time for video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say we do have an interview today, everybody. We're not just going to talk about illnesses the whole time. Wells Thompson is back, joined with Dalton Shannon. We're going to talk about Mechaton on Kickstarter right now. So giant robots, we love that shit. So
Definitely.
Yep.
Giant robots, kids comics. I'm all about that.
Mm-hmm.
Get more kids reading comics.
Yeah, for sure.
And stay tuned this week. There might be a second interview coming on Friday.
Oh boy. Double interviews. Yeah, man, if you guys didn't have enough content, here's some more.
This one's going to be full of it.
Oh yeah. I guess we'll just jump into the news.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we're gonna get TV stuff. We're gonna do Pat's flashbacks here, everybody. This is episode 4 of 13 for the last season of Flash. The Mask of the Red Death, Part 1. So we're still dealing with the Red Death. We already know that's Batwoman. That was a pretty cool reveal. Made Chris and I feel pretty stupid. The Red Death and Rainbow Raider capture Barry and cause a citywide blackout. Barry quickly learns who Red Death is and that the Speed Force is artificial. Her Speed Force is artificial. She needs the treadmill, the cosmic treadmill that is, and Barry's Speed Force to get her home. Ryan Wilder, Batwoman, Red Death that's who that is. Gives Iris a visit. Iris has quickly realized that something is off about Ryan and figures out that she is Red Death. Ryan reveals to Iris that she's from a different timeline where her and Flash are enemies, and the Flash is the evil one. Ryan claims that in her timeline, her and Iris are best buds, but Ryan accidentally killed Iris while fighting the Flash. Ryan wants to bring Iris back to her timeline to use her as a bait to fight the Flash. Ryan captures Iris and brings her to Barry. This forces Barry to run on the cosmic treadmill. Hell yeah, let's go. That's always a big comics moment when they do that. Chillblain, who feels bad for turning on Flash last week, sabotages the treadmill. It blows up, knocks the Red Death out. Evil rogues then start to beat Chillblain to death. Man, this is getting pretty dark for Flash. Barry's team of good rogues show up to save him. Chillblain is assumed to be dead. When the Red Death wakes up, she declares war on the Flash. Yeah, because that wasn't obvious from the start. I like the whole idea of like the villain on the other Earth made me kill you. You were my best friend, so I need to abduct you, best friend, to bring you to the other timeline to use you as bait. It's a really good friend right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
the show.
Yeah, I know. It's something, that's for sure.
I commend Pat for continuing to watch this. I mean, kudos, especially with so much good television that we're going to talk about here soon.
Yeah, he's doing New God's work, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Do you like that? New God's work, everybody. Yeah. So now let's talk about some shows that we're watching. And thanks for the Pat's flashbacks. So I binged because I had long flights this week. I binged Wednesday. I don't know if you had said that you watched that.
No, I had zero interest in it, and then somebody explained it to me, and I had negative interest in it.
Well, I really liked it. I watched all 8 episodes, I think, in a row. I think her name's Jenna Ortega that plays Wednesday. She's like the best part of the show. I'll say like a lot. Some of the characters are kind of like meh. But she's obviously the best part. Whenever you see the Addams Family characters and all the like Morticia and Thing and Uncle Fester, they show up. They're not a huge part of the show. It's fun. Like the rest of it, where she's attending this like crazy school for other monsters, where you have like gorgons, you have vampires, werewolves, all this other type of stuff. It's pretty interesting. Like, it was enjoyable. Some of the characters are cool. There's like this whole backstory of like her family and the pilgrims that like discovered the town that she's in, and it's almost like the school is almost like X-Men, school. But like if X-Men were like the main prophet for the town that they're in, so like the town hates them and is like racist towards these like werewolves and like freaks. But it's like the town's main source of income, so they like the mayor like still loves the school, but everybody in the town hates the school, so you have that like whole thing going on. It was pretty good. It was enjoyable. I'll probably watch the second season if it sticks around. Who the hell knows with Netflix nowadays? But it almost reminded me of like some parts were more like Harry Potter-ish, like because you're in a school with all these different people. And Christina Ricci, the original Wednesday actress, it plays a major role. She's like one of the teachers at the school, which is kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. I mean, I needed something with 8 episodes that I hadn't seen to kill some time, and I don't regret it. I've definitely watched worse things. That's for sure. But like I said, Jenna Ortega is the best part of that show. She plays like a perfect Wednesday, completely devoid of emotion, like almost never breaks that. That was the thing I did like about the show. You have like 8 episodes, and you're like, okay, she'll probably break it and like get emotional for somebody like episode 3 or 4. The typical blah blah blah. She doesn't break it at all. Like you think that this next moment she's gonna like give in, and it's like not until like maybe the very last 5 minutes of the show of the season you'll see her like show a little bit of emotion. But it was great. Mandalorian's back, Chris.
Yeah.
Season 3, episode 1. I will say this, man. This episode might hold a record for like the amount of places we visit in 30 minutes. why can't these guys just make? My only complaint is like make the episodes longer. Like why? That was crazy.
I thought it was the perfect intro to the season. My biggest
Yeah,
complaint of it is I want more.
right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like you took us to like 5 areas in one episode, which is awesome. Like we got to see a lot of different characters and stuff. A lot of Grogu, Bo-Katan, Darksaber talk, and then and then the episode ended, and I was like, well, oh man, it's only been 30 minutes. That's why. Uh, but overall, I think, like you said, it's a good way to start off the season and get me hyped for it.
Yeah, I like all the action sequences are really good. It starts off with a bang. I thought that was a flashback, and then like Mando flies in, just shoots that giant alligator
Yeah,
thing.
they did that perfectly. Of like, oh, it's a flashback, not.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I love if you never like if you were somebody who hadn't watched the show and for some reason were like, I'll start in season 3. Like it's actually kind of a really good intro to everything. Like this is what's going on. This is where we start.
Yeah.
I I love the fact like all the different aliens we had in this one. Like the pirates were cool.
Yep.
I forget the name of the race, but Babu Frick's race is in
Oh
here.
yeah, Babu Frick shows up. That was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, and
or
Babu
his
Frick
race.
was like the best part of that movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really.
And even the captain of the space pirates was like kind of cool looking.
Yeah,
I
like
know
the
some
Davy
people are
Jones
like,
guy.
yeah, I know some people are clowning on him, but like I don't know, I thought he was pretty badass looking. He will 100% be coming back.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
then
liked him.
yeah, what happened to Bo-Katan and like the fact that everybody was following her because of the dark saber, and then it's no longer there. Like, why would they follow her further?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that, and we get a conclusion on Cara Dune as well
Mm-hmm.
through like a one-liner, just so that's
Yeah,
not just hanging out there. It was a great episode. It's everything Mandalorian's been for 2 seasons, and it's
yeah.
just I'm
Well,
so happy to have it back.
and what was the line about her? Like, oh, she's more fit for like that group or something. And like, I forget where she goes to some bounty hunters or not bounty hunters. I
No, she
forget what
goes
they.
to the New Republic.
New Republic. That's what it
Yeah,
is. Yeah, yeah. Um, the the episode is great. The only problem I have is like, okay, is I don't know if it's a problem, but like, is Bo Katan really just sitting on that chair all day, like doing nothing until someone shows up to like chat with her? Because that looks really boring. At least get a
it
TV or something.
yeah, man, she's depressed. She lost the dark saber.
Yeah,
It
so
kind of
she just
reminds
sits
me
there.
of in the like comics and books when you just like go to Vader's castle and he's just like
Yeah,
sitting on that throne doing
yeah,
nothing.
yeah. Like everybody, yeah, like everybody in comic, you enter the room, they're just sitting on their throne. It's like, what were you doing 20 minutes ago? Are you still here? Um, And then I think my favorite part of the episode was the little robots that hold people's capes.
That was funny. Yeah,
That was probably I was like, holy shit, that is amazing. Why has that never been used before? Um, that's like so petty to me. Of like, you do not need to buy a robot to do this. You don't need like you could just let your cape drag on the floor, but no,
no
that was
man,
yeah, it was
can't get that
awesome.
cape dirty. He's the
Yeah,
Lord.
yeah. Um, it almost like the plot was almost like a video game quest to me. It was like, okay, you got here, now you need this part, and now this part to get this is that this person is the info, and then the info that was with this person is now at this person. It was like, okay, where is he going to have to go to next, kind of thing. Um,
Yeah, now
yeah,
we gotta bring back the IG robot. We gotta bring him
yeah,
back.
yeah. That was interesting. I was like, damn. I think it is pretty cool to see him come back. We'll see how he comes back, but
And Grogu's moments were great too. Like
yeah,
playing with the little Babu Frick aliens.
yeah, that was
And like
all. He's
man will
trying
be
to
like, they're not
like,
pets.
he's trying to like drag one away.
And
Yeah,
then it was adorable when he like when he's being attacked by the pirates and he goes down, has to sit on Mando's lap
yeah,
because he's like scared. Like it,
yeah.
yeah. The
It was
show
awesome.
was a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited to have it back. It's
Yeah, I
been
can't
too
wait to
long.
see where it goes. Um, Last of Us episode 7. So this would be last Sunday's, not the current Sunday's episode for everybody that's listening. So, um, yeah, surprise, surprise. Uh, he's not dead. But
Not yet, at least.
yeah, not yet. He's still alive for this episode, at least. We see the whole flashback of Ellie like getting involved with um, Fedra and like being trained and stuff like that. How she had a friend, like a love interest, and how she originally got bit. And we go from like a cool episode playing Mortal Kombat to being depressed because you know that her friend will die and she's going to be left alive. So they like make the choice together to die together. Well, we already know that Ellie's going to live through it, which is fucking depressing.
Yeah, so to tie it into the game, this is the Left Behind DLC, which is why the episode's called Left Behind.
Oh, makes sense.
Uh, so it is from the game. I think I hate taking this stance because I took it with the last one that was a gay love story, but it felt kind of fillery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my only complaint with it is so we're at episode 7. This is 10 episodes to finish it up.
Yeah.
Where we are in the game story, if they plan on finishing the first game in this season, they're going to be rushing these last 3 episodes.
I don't think they are. There's no way.
So yeah, I'm of the mind if they end this season partway through the first game, I'll be much happier with those 2 episodes that they were there.
Right.
But if
Yeah.
we rush to the end of the game, I'll be
Mhm.
like, why did we do those 2 episodes? Like
Yeah.
they felt fillery at the time, and then as good as they were, like they
Right.
were good.
Yeah.
But to get the whole story in, I think is more important than those moments for me personally.
I think them announcing early the season 2 means that there's no way they're going to wrap it up this season. And if they do, it'll feel very rushed, like you said at the end, like skipping
Yeah.
over everything
Because
to
we're not even halfway. I mean,
yeah.
probably at the halfway mark, if that.
And there's
in the
some things
game.
they need to drag out to make more sense.
Yeah.
Like Joel's not going to be healed in a day kind of thing.
Well, so in the game, this isn't really a spoiler, but in the game, like you start in fall and then you go to winter, which is where we're at now, and then you do a spring part of the game, and then you kind of end in summer. So we still have 2 more seasons to get through. And like there's a pretty big moment coming up after this that if they skip is like I don't know, because it's so important for Ellie as a character, and you really need to. It needs to be its own episode. So we'll see. I hope that this means that the show ends at the end of winter, and then season 2 will pick up in spring.
Yeah,
but it was a good episode, though. It did kind of faithfully recreate that DLC that they did, with some changes, obviously, but some of the stuff they changed were like, we need to put gameplay into this moment.
Yeah, right.
And it didn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's really, really good. And yeah, we'll see if Joel makes it, everybody. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed. This is pretty exciting news, especially related to the podcast, our podcast. Eisner award-winning Image comic The Good Asian is set to be a TV series. And if you all had listened to the episode, Pornsack was actually on an episode sometime last year with Chris. Maybe we'll have to repost that episode, but we got to chat with him about The Good Asian. He's such a cool dude. So this is awesome to hear for him, and no word as to where the series will land, but James Wan is attached to produce, which is even cooler. So congrats to Pornsack. Maybe he'll come back to the show sometime. I don't know.
Maybe. I saw right now he's working on the Green Lantern show. So
yeah,
I think he's in the writer's room.
Okay.
So we'll see where he lands after this, because he hasn't done anything in comics in a while.
Well, he was, and this is callback to the interview. Wasn't he involved with a lot of like the CW writing at first?
He bounced all over the place. So he was, because he was like a editor at Vertigo, I think it was.
Yeah, and then he was writing for Green Arrow for a little bit, I think.
Yeah, and he went to a few shows and then did Infidel.
Yep.
And then I'm sure there's something I'm missing, but then Good Asian. So
yeah,
he's a busy man, but we'll see. I'm excited for this because that was a really good series. Everybody should go read it.
Go read Good Asian. I do believe there's a collector edition coming out in April that I might have pre-ordered, so check that out.
Have to look that up.
Yeah, and it's a hardcover. Movies. Last week we discussed that Hellboy is being rebooted for a new movie titled Hellboy: The Crooked Man, and we know who will be playing Hellboy. Actor Jack Kesey will be playing the titular role. You may know him from know Jack from FX's The Strain or Deadpool 2, where he played Black Tom Cassidy. Interesting. So, what do you think about that choice?
Kind of a no name, which I'm fine with that. It kind of makes sense. I mean, we went with two pretty big. I mean, Ron Perlman was Ron Perlman even when he was doing Hellboy.
Yeah.
And then who did it after him? The Stranger Things guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I can't think of
David Harbour.
David Harbour. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And David Harbour was on the rise at that point, so he was like he was somebody people wanted. So it's interesting to go with kind of a no name, a guy who's done some stuff but been like kind of the B or C character of whatever he's been in. I'm fine with it. I mean, we'll see. It's Hellboy, so I'm gonna check it out.
It's funny though, because like the pictures you look at of Jack Kesey, like because I did not recognize him from the name, but you look at him like his side profile, he's got the chin. He has like the Ron Perlman chin, so like that's I like they'll put the prosthetics on him, and I think he'll look fine. Like I could see him being Hellboy.
I was gonna say you just need the face. Like
yeah, you really just need the face. Yeah.
You're gonna be in 100 pounds of prosthetics playing this role.
Yeah, for sure. Unless they do some awful CGI stuff, but like I think Guillermo del Toro really set the bar with the first one.
And like, I think you're seeing throughout cinema movies that people are learning that CGI is best used as a tool to help with practical.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest, I know I really enjoyed it, but the biggest complaint about Ant-Man was that there's so much CG.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even the audiences are getting kind of sick of it.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're smart enough to do that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem has announced the complete voice cast for the animated movie. There's going to be quite a few people in it. You have Jackie Chan as Splinter. Awesome. Awesome. Huge Jackie Chan fan. Ayo Adibiri as April O'Neil. Seth Rogen as Bebop. Hell yeah. This is even better. So joining Seth Rogen as Rocksteady would be John Cena. I'm loving this shit already. Giancarlo Esposito as Baxter Stockman. Post Malone as Ray Fillet. Okay. Hannibal Burgess as Genghis Frog. Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko. Oh my god. Ice Cube as Superfly. Wow. Maya Rudolph as Cynthia Altram. What the hell? Nicholas Cantu as Leo. Shamon Brown Jr. as Mikey. Brady Noon as Raphael. And Mika Abbey as Donnie. So there's some big names in there that are pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know the four playing the Turtles. I don't know them.
Yeah, I don't either.
So that says to me like they want to do more of these animated movies, and so they pick people who are cheap.
Exactly. Yeah. The expensive ones have probably the least amount of airtime, like John Cena.
Yeah. The surrounding cast. What's funny here is like I'm a like very low TMNT fan. Like I enjoy the Turtles and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna show my ignorance here. I have no goddamn clue who Mondo Gecko, Genghis Frog are.
Yeah. They sound like shitty villains though, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, but I love this cast. Like Seth Rogen and John Cena as Bebop and Rocksteady is perfect.
I think that's awesome.
So yeah, and then Jackie Chan as Splinter. That's a really good casting as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for this movie now.
Makes me want to watch Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh, I forgot about that cartoon.
Yeah, that show is awesome. Rumor time, everybody. Jeff Snyder was on Hot Mic Podcast and dropped some juicy rumors about DC animated movie that was in development pre-James Gunn and was said to complete it with Into the Spider-Verse. The movie in question was Batman Beyond. Ooh. He did not say whether the movie is canceled or not, and did not say whether Gunn and crew were looking into it in its future.
So obviously, I want Batman Beyond with I'm zoning out his name now, but I want the live action Batman Beyond.
Okay.
I will settle for this because I'm starved for Batman Beyond content. Like
Yeah,
anything.
we haven't had anything in forever. Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it's a decent way to go about, because like Into the Spider-Verse is like a teenage, kids movie for the most part, as good as it was. And Batman Beyond was meant to be, I mean, the birth of Batman Beyond was WB saying we want a teenage Batman. And then
Right.
Bruce and Tim were like, well, what about this?
Yeah.
So it makes sense in that way. Where it doesn't make sense is to be like, Into the Spider-Verse is a spectacle of like going across the multiverse and meeting all these different versions of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't see where like Batman Beyond falls in that range. You have your own multiverse. You could do something there.
Right. You could. You have your own
but
world.
You also don't have a character like Spider-Man to do it with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope this is still a thing. I hope this is real, and I hope we get it, because I just want anything. Anything Batman Beyond, just give it to me. I want it.
Yeah, I know that, and it's nice to hear that they're actually like still doing maybe something with the character that's not just being thrown to the side.
Yeah, and they seem to know that like the audience wants something, and that it's a. Here's the thing, like people like me and you, we grew up on those cartoons, and we're now of the age where we have spending money and we have nostalgia for it, and
yes,
so now is the time to jump on it. Like, get
take
us
my money
in the theater.
Yeah,
and
take my money.
This doesn't really count for me and you, but I'm sure that, at least in my life, a lot of my friends have children that are of the age that would go to see something like this as well.
Oh yeah. You're taking them along and be like, here you go. This is. Well, this is. I was going to say this is not your father's Batman, but it kind of is.
Yeah, it literally would be.
It literally would be. That's funny.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, it's such a good idea to do something with Beyond, and animated movie makes sense. I mean, in that realm, like if I had a kid, my best friend has kids that are 9 and 7. And if I was him, and I'm sure he would do this too, because he watched this show with me, I would be taking those kids with me, and there's 3 tickets right there. Like, and you're going to get that across the board, because every father, mother who watched this show is going to be like, all right, family outing. We're going to see Batman Beyond.
Yep. And they're like, what's Batman Beyond? And then you get home, and then they have all that amazing show to watch.
That they do.
Yep. Come on. It's an easy recipe to make more money. WB and HBO, figure it out. And with that, we'll jump to this interview we have with Wells Thompson and Dalton Shannon. And we'll see everybody on the other side.
And we're back.
Yeah. Man, when you remember to use those effects, I'm loving it. We gotta stay on that, because that's great. I love that.
Pick that one out just for Mike, everybody.
That's the 60s Batman scene change sound. So it's very, very suitable for this podcast.
Yes.
Also, so
go check out Mechaton. It's on Kickstarter, and it looks like a blast.
Oh yeah, giant robots, all ages book. Yeah, good stuff. All right, with that, let's get to the comic news, Chris.
Let's do it.
Marvel has announced that they're creating a new imprint to house all of the IP that they acquired when Disney bought 20th Century. The imprint is called 20th Century Studios. And the first comic that we published under this line is the previously announced Planet of the Apes. Soon after, Aliens and Predator will join. So yeah, we got the first image of the front cover of Planet of the Apes. Corey Walker's writing this one, I believe.
Yeah.
Looks pretty dope.
David Walker.
David Walker, sorry. What do you think about that?
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Marvel is getting kind of cluttered. I mean, I almost wonder. I mean, Star Wars at one point was a 20th century thing, and then it became its own. Because the first movie is done by Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And with all the Star Wars stuff in there, and then at one point you had Conan and all the Marvel stuff, and it was getting a little cluttered. it's an interesting move. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but
Yeah.
it doesn't affect my purchase of Planet of the Apes. Like whether it says 20th Century Studios or Marvel on the cover or DC or whoever, like I'm gonna buy a Planet of the Apes book. So
Mm-hmm.
it's yeah, it's just an interesting thing. It says to me too that they have more IP there that they want to pull out of it.
Yeah.
It's not just these three. And I
Well.
would have to go deep to figure out what that is, but Indiana Jones maybe.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
no, Indiana Jones is
No, it's
that was
Lucasfilm.
Lucas, so
Yeah. I don't know.
which that's actually interesting. Lucas Comics, like Lucasfilms Comics or something.
Yeah. Why not
And then you
that?
just put Star Wars and Indy and under that. But yeah, it just says to me that they see more they can do with these IPs, and there's going to be more comics coming out for these
Oh, for sure.
IPs.
For sure.
Yeah.
Um, and this is exactly what DC did with their Legendary comics, right? WB's um, Legendary titles. I think they released some other stuff under there. I think was it? I think they had a Godzilla comic at one point. I don't think it lasted very long though. So I think that's what you usually see is these like imprints don't last very long.
I think Legendary is its own comic company.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because they've got some Kickstarter going on right now for Frankenstein and Dracula.
Oh,
I
interesting.
don't know if they're associated with DC at all. I don't believe they
Oh,
are.
okay. Well, because
But
I thought Legendary Pictures was owned by Warner Brothers, so that's why.
they might be. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Warner Brothers seems to care less about bringing in their outside IP into comics,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the example I always use, and I know it's kind of hot buttony right now, but like how DC hasn't done a Harry Potter book,
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind
like
of yeah. Can you imagine a Harry Potter comic? Holy shit.
yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me that they
Yeah.
have not done something with that, even if it's
Yeah.
just redo all the books in comics, like
Yeah. Which is funny
every
because they're redoing all the books right now with like illustrated books.
yeah,
It's just crazy.
it's DC, it's easy money.
Yeah. It
It's
really
just such
is.
easy money, and then you can build off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but that's yeah. Warner seems to not care about the comic side. They seem to see like, all right, these comic things, like we mine them for DC Studios, and that's it.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. That's the vibe I'm getting to
Yeah,
for
where
sure.
Disney seems to think there's something here with comics, because to keep doing Star Wars comics and not farm them out, like how much easier would it be to just say like, all right, Dark Horse, just keep doing your thing, just keep
Yeah.
doing it, and we'll just
Right.
take the money.
Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, but yeah, it's interesting to say the least.
I don't know if you can. Mad Cave Studios has announced a new 4-issue series called "You've Been Cancelled." Hold on a second. Were you just did? Was it last week where you just brought up the fact that you hate villains' motivation is that they're being canceled? Wait,
Yeah, it
hold on a
was in
second.
Superman where
Yeah. So this is really interesting timing. The series will be written by Kurt Pyers and art by Kevin Castanero. The series is described by creators with the solicit text. In the near future, cancel culture means more than just losing your job. It can mean your life. The world's premier entertainment event is canceled, a live stream program where elite bounty hunters called cancelers kill individuals whose society has voted to cancel following heinous actions or offenses. Our story follows Roland Endo, the world's number one ranked canceller. Because of his status, Roland lives in a constant state of paranoia with a target on his back. Wow.
so yeah, I said last week I hate that as a motivation for like supervillains when they're like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
fight Superman because
yeah, yeah.
cancel culture.
Right.
Um, I'll I'll give this a shot because I like Kurt Pyers,
Yeah.
and Kurt Pyers has always been he's kind of like Mark Russell, where he's all of his books comment on the real world. So like for him to
Mm-hmm.
take on cancel culture, his last book took on fascism. The book before that was about the military industrial complex and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
I have more faith that he'll do something interesting with this. And I think it's kind of cool that he's gone to Mad Cave to do it as well. Kind of a
Yeah,
smaller publisher.
that is cool. Good to see Mad Cave doing that, still going strong.
Yeah, I'm liking seeing these smaller publishers kind of get some name creators, because my hope is
Hmm.
that if you get some creators that have some sort of backing to them, like people know them. I
Yeah,
think of Forever Forward with I'm zoning on his name too. I can't remember names today, everybody, but I
yeah,
think about that book and what it does for Scout and like
hmm
all the other creators at Scout, where it actually brings like eyes on that publisher. This book could do that. Now it's not Ed Brubaker or Mark
right.
Wade, but still, like people know who Kurt Pyers is. Like he's done a lot
Hmm.
of stuff, and yeah, so
Yeah,
I'll probably
totally
check it
agree.
out.
Yeah, the cover looks pretty fun too. So, all right. With that, I guess we'll talk about what we read this week, Chris.
Let's do it.
Mine's a little all over the place. I actually read quite a bit of manga this weekend. Um, I finished up that. I have that anthology book hardcover about Junji Ito. It's called Deserter, so it has a lot of interesting horror stories in there. Some of them are really pretty fucking creepy and depressing. Uh, so that was fun to read. I also read. We talked about it last episode. Um, Kaiju number 8. I picked up like 5 volumes of that this weekend. So I read volume 1 by Nadia Matsumoto. It's right up my alley. I mean, it involves like this dude who works for a kaiju like cleanup crew. So like he grew up his whole life with this girl of like, oh, we're gonna be part of the special forces that take down kaiju. And he's getting to the point where he's older, like in his 30s, where he can't sign up to enlist anymore. But something happens where he's part of the cleanup crew, so they come in and they like have to clean out the intestines and like the bones and like share them with different parties that are, of like investors and shit like that. But something happens where he gets like powers, and now he's taking these exams to become part of like the special forces for the kaiju while trying to hide his powers. And no, it's awesome. I love it. So I think it's a cool little twist on kaiju. The characters are a lot of fun, and I think it's funny like being part of the kaiju cleanup crew.
Yeah, that sounds like something I need to check out, but also
Yeah,
that intro sounds like kaiju damage control.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Um, no, it was cool though, so definitely gonna check that out. But then I did get to I got to some regular Western comics as well. I caught up on 8 Billion Genies number 7. Like you said, I thought that was a really good wrap up to all the original characters going on for like 80 years and how their like lives ended and what they did with their wishes. And then the tease for now, we're going to see the next 8 centuries, which is kind of crazy. This could really go on forever. I caught up on Barbaric, Hell to Pay number 2. I thought that was a solid issue of him being in hell. Caught up on Hulk number 12. That was a good issue. I think it looks like next issue shit's gonna hit the fan. Um, and I guess we'll see. Is Donny Cates still on the book after that?
No, Otley's doing all the so Otley took Donnie's outlines and is finishing
That's
the
right.
series.
That's right. Okay. That's why his name is still attached to it.
Yeah,
Right.
you'll even. I mean, you're not reading Thor, but even in Thor, it
No.
says Donnie, and
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
gonna be able to pronounce the woman's name.
Yeah. Okay. So they're finishing up that way.
Yeah, technically,
Um.
Donnie's not writing anything right now.
Oh, okay. Shirtless Bear Fighter series 2 number 7. This wraps up the story from like the first and second volumes. There's a giant kaiju fight with Shirtless and the Ursa Major villain. So I loved it. They're turning huge and fighting each other like Godzilla style. And then the end, everything resolves and he gets reunited with his human mom, and that's kind of where it ends. Nothing really on a cliffhanger though. So it might be the end of the series, which it was a fun series. I recommend Shirtless Bear Fighter if you're into that stuff. Sergeant Rock, Army of the Dead number 6. This was the finale. I thought this is one of my favorite issues of the series. I thought it was a nice, awesome fight with Hitler and Sergeant Rock trying to escape the bunker as they're going to napalm it. I thought like the self monologue shit was awesome. The whole like Hitler um, actually did poison himself, but then they brought him back to life, and then he tries to poison himself again. Um, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and Sergeant Rock like not letting him and then fighting him, being the
Yeah,
one like wanting to be the one to kill Hitler was really cool.
yeah. And then the biggest surprise for me was at the end, Sergeant Rock survives, and they hand him a file of like, now you're gonna deal with like a special squad that deals with monsters. And I was like, oh, please tell me Bruce Campbell's getting like another volume of this because I'd be so happy.
I
Yeah,
I have to believe
yeah,
that they would have probably rewritten this ending if they didn't have
yeah,
something up their sleeve for volume 2. And I
yeah,
really hope
maybe.
they do because this was a blast. It's a quick 6 issues, but it's just fun
Hmm.
and lots of action and yeah, I love this series. It was great.
Yeah, yeah, it really was awesome. And then I got some other books I'm behind on, but I decided to try a new one out this week. Phantom Road #1, Jeff Lemire, Gabriel Walta. I don't know if you picked this one up.
I didn't.
So, new Jeff Lemire book. I really didn't know anything about it going into it. I knew it was somewhat horror book. Basically, there's this truck driver, and there's something weird like on the middle of the road that him and the stranger like get in a car accident, and they touch the weird like figure in the road, and they get transported to this other world. Like it looks like the road that they're on, but it's like a whole other world, parallel universe maybe. And there's all these like zombie things. And the end of the issue, like he kills one of them when they first encounter one, and then he has to kill a whole group of them with like a wrench. And so like the end of the issue, he's like sitting around all these dead like zombified things, and him and the new acquaintance are like they felt like they were drawn to this item that appeared in the road, and they don't know what they have to do, but they have to like carry it with them somewhere. But the monsters are pretty creepy looking. They're like zombies with like large mouths and stuff. But no, it's definitely an interesting first issue. We know Lemire's got a really big reputation for awesome stories, and I know he's a great horror writer. So I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, I wanted to check that one out, but there was such a big week that I couldn't pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, that's all I got to right now. I'm still trying to read some stuff today, but
So start with some quick Kickstarter that I'm catching up on. So I finally got Granite State Punk Breaking Edge.
nice.
Really great issue. I think you talked about it a while
Yep.
back, but
Yeah, I had it digitally. Yep.
another really great issue. Just really recommend this series. And it's coming out from Scout. Issue 1's coming out next month, 2 months from now. So you have a chance to check it out
Hmm.
outside of Kickstarter. And then Grim Space P1 Nokia. If you remember, I talked about the first issue of this that
Oh yeah.
Scout also published.
Yep.
And this is the Kickstarter version. Same idea as that, Grim Space. It's like fairy tales, but told in a sci-fi realm.
Hmm.
So we've got this it's P1 Nokia robot, and Pedo gets him, and then he has a J1 mini robot as well, and
Uh
they go
huh.
on their adventure. So it's a retelling of Pinocchio with that.
Okay.
Uh, really like this series. It's cool. It's kind of a different twist on these fairy tales, so I recommend them.
Awesome.
And then on to the other stuff. Batman versus Robin #5. This was goofy.
Yeah, and
So
not in a
it
good way.
it ties up kind of everything from Lazarus Planet, like what happened with Batman. He became the devil, and then they had to get the devil out of him. Uh, but the Neza was the only thing holding him together. If they took Neza out of him, Batman would die. So Robin decides, well, we're going to do it anyways. And his whole plan was that he was going to sacrifice himself by giving his spirit to Batman so that the world could have Batman and Damian would die.
Uh huh.
Well, that plan didn't work.
Of course.
All of the like magic users were like, well, it's not enough. We can't do it. So he like calls out to Gotham and is like, everybody give me a piece of your soul and we'll
Oh
heal
my god.
Batman together.
What the fuck?
It was fucking weird.
Yeah, I had to stop reading this series. I think after issue 2.
Well, thankfully it's done now, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Wade went off the rails on these,
Yeah.
if you ask me. Red Zone #1. This is the Colin Bunn, Mike Diodato Jr. book from AWA.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I loved it because it's exactly up my alley. So it takes place in modern day. we meet this professor who's like an expert in Russian culture and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody from special forces comes to find him and says, we need to go into Russia to get this woman out. And we find out that the woman in question is like friends with this professor, and they used to know each other back in the day.
Okay.
They go into Russia, everything goes wrong, and the woman really just wants to get her daughter out of Russia
Mm-hmm.
to go to America and, be free or whatever she wants to do. Shit hits the fan. The whole special forces team is like annihilated by these Russian secret ops and everything.
Okay.
And the first issue, spoilers, ends with like the doctor has like this safe house in Russia, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just full of guns, and he's like, I'm gonna get you out of here. So he obviously has some training that nobody knows about.
Oh, okay.
While it takes place in modern day, it has like that very like James Bondy Cold War era feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I really dug it. It's right
Cool.
up my alley.
Awesome.
Uh Cosmic Ghost Rider #1.
Stephanie Phillips.
Stephanie Phillips. Okay, first issue. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
continue with it, but it starts with like Ghost Rider kind of going into this casino, space casino, and
Nice.
just annihilating everybody, and we don't know why. And then we cut to Frank. He wakes up from a dream, and he's just kind of in this bar helping out, and we see he's got like this life that he's doing on the side. When this bounty hunter shows up and is trying to find Frank, and basically like everything goes to shit. Through all this, we find out that Frank has no idea about this whole casino thing. So we don't know who did that, or if like somebody's controlling Frank in the background.
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of interesting. But it does end with him kind of coming back and realizing that he has to be Ghost Rider again. And then we
Hmm.
get a backup story, which was Frank just kind of dealing with like all of Frank's sins from the past, from the Donny Cates stuff,
Yeah.
and him finding this guy who was trying to kill Cosmic Ghost Rider because Cosmic Ghost Rider killed his family or something when he was the Herald of Galactus.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically a story of like dealing with your past sins and everything. Good first issue, not great, but definitely enough there for me to continue on.
It's hard to top that Donny Cates story.
It is. It really is.
It really is.
Captain America Sentinel of Liberty #10. This was so the whole new Invaders crew is stuck in this like mine thing with MODOK. This is MODOK with a C.
Mm-hmm.
And they find their way out with by way of dynamite. He finds a way to like break the whatever spell like MODOK has over them and brings them
Okay.
back to the real world. We get glimpses of Bucky and like this inner circle, and how Bucky's been trying to like help Cap from inside the circle as they play their game. And then we end it with MODOK. I'm saying this on purpose. We end it with MODOK with a C, admitting defeat, and then realizing like, well, this version of me doesn't work. We'll have to unleash the other one, and we get MODOK with a K coming
Oh, of
out.
course. The original.
And it's funny because he's got like these spider legs and like these giant lasers shooting out
Mm-hmm.
and everything. So it was a really fun issue. I like how they're using MODOK, and I'm interested to see how the next issue goes with the quote unquote real MODOK.
Yeah, that's right up your alley.
Action Comics number 1052. So 3 stories in here. We got the first one with Metallo. I like this. This is the Philip Kennedy Johnson story. I like this
Mm-hmm.
story a lot. Steel and Superman fighting Metallo. And then we kind of cut to the Super family and how they're trying to figure out what's going on with Metallo. Uh, the short version of this is somebody's controlling Metallo and they're telling them that it's Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what confused me with the Superman #1 issue because Luthor's in jail.
Yeah.
Well, they talk about it in here. Superman's like, it can't be Luthor. I can see him using my X-ray vision that he's still in jail. And he's not talking to Metallo at all. So there's some sort of force outside that's controlling Metallo and trying to get him to think that it's Luthor and that Luthor has his family. and is going to kill him if they don't help him. So it's a pretty cool story. I like where he's going, and it all ties into Warworld, which I didn't read, and I'm
I don't think.
still enjoying and can understand what's going on because they do a good job of explaining.
That's good.
And then the second story is the Dan Jurgens story that takes place in the past with a Superboy, John Kent, where this like alien falls. We find out she's a princess and that there's somebody like coming after her, and John gets caught in the middle of it. Basically, like Superman sees that there's something going on because John yells out for help, and he goes to help her. And then as soon as he leaves, somebody shows up, and Lois answers the door, and she answers as like, "Oh no, it's Doombreaker." So apparently, Doombreaker's back.
Oh boy!
And then the Power Girl story, it's just not doing it for me. They're going a different direction with Power Girl. I kind of was thinking about it, and because I'm just not going to read the Power Girl story moving on, which is funny because it's the reason I was buying the book. And they're successfully feminizing Power Girl. So it's a story written for women. And Power Girl was always kind of a male fantasy. That's one of the reasons that any guy who's read Power Girl, whether they admit to it or not, like that's the reason they read it. Like, myself included. But they're going a new direction. They want to make it more of a female-led book that's written for women. So I respect that. I'm just not the audience anymore. So that's fine.
Understood.
I can read old Power Girl.
Something about I do like the Superman book, but I just can't get into the Action Comics stuff yet. So I don't know.
I think this Action Comics book, these 2 issues were better than that one Superman issue. But we're talking about 3 books altogether, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
And I think that was everything. Yep, Mike. So that's everything I read this week. So where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on pretty much every social media. And you can find the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter, also at FortressComicNews.com. Remember, everybody, to like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube version of this, and to give us the reviews on podcatcher of your choice, or if you're using Spotify, leave a comment. Whatever your podcatcher does, do it. And share the show with your friends. And if you want to go the extra mile, we always have the affiliate links in the show notes down below. Also, we have the Patreon at patreon.com/FortressComics. So I want to thank everybody so much for watching and listening this week. And we will see you all here next week.
See ya.